My name is Jay. I'm one of the expert PTE teachers here at E2 Language, the best online school in the world. What we're going to do in this live class is look at PTE writing, but we're going to look at it from a different angle, not just the essay and not just summarize written text and summarize spoken text. We're going to look at all of the tasks that contribute points to your writing score overall, because if you are deficient in writing, it might mean more than just your write essay, summarize written or summarize spoken text, okay? Because PTE has integrated scoring. That is, the scores, one task will contribute points to some reading, to some listening, etc. So you need to know, actually, you don't need to know this. Honestly, you don't need to know this. You just need to be aware of it. I'll take you through this. This is cool. So these are the 6 tasks that contribute points to your overall writing score. Summarize written text, which is a writing task. Write essay, which is a writing task. Summarize spoken text, which is a listening task. Reading and writing fill in the blanks, which is a reading task. Fill in the blanks, which is a listening task. And write from dictation, which is a listening task. Okay? So I'm not sure if you're aware of that. We're going to go through each of those. Okay? First one we're going to start with is write from dictation. This is in fact the final task that you do on test day. It's the final listening task. And it seems to contribute quite a lot of points to your overall writing score. The reason we say that is we get some students writing in saying, listen, I didn't do very well in my writing section and my listening section. And we say, well, did you complete all of the write from dictations on test day? And they say, well, in fact, no, I missed some. So it does seem to have quite a large bearing. We don't know exactly the bearing, the weightage, but there is some significance there. On test day, you're going to get 3 or 4 write from dictation exercises, activities, or whatever they're called. As I mentioned, it contributes points to listening and writing. This is what write from dictation looks like on test day. This is the screen that you'll be looking at. What happens is you will hear a single sentence. You will listen very carefully to that single sentence. You will then write that single sentence. You'll check your sentence, then you'll click next. You're managing your own time here. So these individual write from dictations are not timed. You have overall time in the listening section. It's up to you to manage your time and work your way through each task efficiently, okay? And because this is the end of the test, this is why some people, if they haven't managed their time properly, will in fact miss out on some of these. Let's take a look at the scoring for write from dictation. So in order to get 100% on each of these, you spell it correctly, you write all the words that were said, and you don't change any of the words that were said, okay? Or put another way, you don't misspell, you don't leave out words, and you don't replace words. For example, imagine the sentence that you hear on test day says, the student experience is at the heart of everything we do. So you write that sentence down, and you get 100%, which is what you want. Then you click next. If, however, you misspell a word like experience and you write experience, then you'll get 90%. So it's called partial marking. So it's not you got it right or you got it wrong, it's you got a percentage score. So that's kind of makes it a little bit better. Now, misspellings could also be sort of grammatical words as well. Like, let's say, for example, you heard the student's experience. Maybe it's not a misspelling. Maybe you thought it was student, plural, students. That will still count as a misspelling. So again, you will lose a point there. So grammar, spelling are critical here. If you leave out a word, like if you don't write down every word, you'll, like this one here, I've missed a word. I said the experience is at the heart of everything we do. So again, I've missed a point there. Or if I replace a word, so instead of experience, I wrote experiment, the wrong word, I would lose a point, okay? So scoring's pretty straightforward there. Now, interestingly, there is nothing mentioned about sequence of words, okay? So this little table that you're looking at is from the official score guide, and there's nothing mentioned in there about correct sequence. For repeat sentence, there is mentioned, sequence is mentioned. So a sequence is important in repeat sentence in the speaking section, but here you could write the we do is at everything student heart of experience, the It has all the correct words, no replacements, etc. It's in the wrong order, doesn't matter. You'd still get 100%. So what does that tell us? That tells us that if you're unsure, just add the word in, okay? Add the word in, even if you're unsure. Or if you're unsure of the order, doesn't matter. So how do we approach this particular task? Really what we're thinking about here when we're doing a write from dictation is the use of our working memory to some degree, because you have to store that in your working memory. Working memory is the type of memory that you, let's say I give you my phone number and you don't have a pen or paper and you have to try and store it in your working memory. It sort of evaporates very quickly. So yes, you're using working memory, but you're also using much more long-term memory based on your language, okay? So it's working memory to a degree. The problem with working memory is that we can remember about 5 things, 5 words, 5 numbers, etc. So this is really problematic because the sentences that you'll see in write from dictation are longer than 5. They'll often be 10, 12, 14 words, for example. So for example, this one is 10 words. The student experience is at the heart of everything we do. And if I gave you this sentence in another language, you wouldn't remember, if you just heard this sentence once in, I can't remember what language this is, Swedish, you wouldn't remember, maybe you get 1 word. So therefore it shows us that while working memory is important here, ultimately this is a test of your language skills. And how do we remember more than 5 things? Well, we use this psychological trick called chunking, where we group words or numbers or items together. So in fact, here we're remembering 3 chunks. The student experience, 1 chunk, is at the heart of everything we do. So you're sort of looking at a subject, verb, object type of memory of the sentence here anyway, okay? So how do we approach this? What we do when the sentence plays, we listen and we're very open and we're very aware and we listen for chunks. We listen for the chunks of the language, the phrases. There will usually be 3 phrases that we have to remember. Then we write down the chunks, or we write down those 3 phrases. Very quickly, we check the grammar and spelling. Don't check the grammar and spelling as you're writing it down. Just write it all out first. Then look at it. You don't want to waste your memory there. Then look at it. Okay, it's good. Click next. So let's try some. If you have seen this class before, I think I did this class about a month ago. These are the same activities. So just be mindful of that. I'm going to disappear and I'm going to play this sentence in 3, 2, 1. Our annual reports record our strategic direction. Let's do it one more time. Listen for the 3 chunks here. 3 phrases. 3, 2, 1. Our annual reports record our strategic direction. Nice work, Prabha. Nice work, Mohammed. Jai, Mithun, looking good. Good. Our annual reports record our strategic direction. So really we've got our annual reports. You remember that as 1 chunk, record our strategic direction. That's the 3 chunks there. Let's do another one. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Some organizations and government agencies provide funding to students. Do it one more time just to check. 3, 2, 1. Some organizations and government agencies provide funding to students. All right, how did you go
Some
there?
organ
Let's have a look. Yeah, this one was a little bit hard, right? It sort of almost went to 4 phrases. Some organizations, that would be 1, and government agencies, that would be 2, provide funding, and then to students. So that one was a challenging one. Cool. All right, any questions about write from dictation before we move on? Any questions about write from dictation? Apurva, can we spell organizations with a Z or an S? Both would be considered correct. On the back end of that algorithm computer thing that Pearson used, they would put the key as both types of spellings. So that doesn't matter. They would also, like if you're going to write a number, like number 7, you could write the numeral or you could write the word 7. Both would be considered correct. What is the time we should spend for write from dictation, says Jai. Basically, you listen to the sentence, you write it out, you check it, you click next. So we're talking sort of 15, 20 seconds. Really not long. Sumaya, sometimes I don't understand particular words. In that case, what can I do? You may as well guess. If you're not 100% sure, did he say government or governmental? Just write in whatever. Mithun, do we have to use capital letters? Well, there's nothing in the scoring actually about punctuation, to be honest, but I think it's safe to use proper punctuation, okay? Unless you're in a real rush. Hello, Viranji, nice to see you. Mexon, I'm doing 1 minute per sentence after correction. Is it too long? Yeah, that sounds too long, Mexon. Listen, the sentence goes for, how long did that sentence go for? Let's have a look. The sentence is 4 seconds, right? So 4 seconds. So you listen for 4 seconds. You'll type it out. It will take you 10, 15 seconds to type out max. 5 seconds to check. Look, we're talking less than 30 seconds. That's probably if pretty generous. Diorella, can we repeat the sentence like you just did? Can we pause it and play it again? No, you hear it once and then that's it. So you've got to be really on the ball in listening. And because this is the final task, you'll be quite fatigued, very exhausted by the end. It's very hard to pay attention. So you do really need to make sure you have lots of glucose in your bloodstream before you do this test. Slow burning GIs would be good. Big meal before your test because you need the energy. Diresh, is the test marked by computers only or humans? Computers only. Santosh, will we get partial marks for a word? I explained the scoring earlier. Just very quickly scoring. There's 10 words, you get 1 wrong, you get 90%. So it's partial marking. Etesh Mudin, do we also have to take care of commas? Good question. I don't think so. Usually the sentences that you will hear will not need a comma. Tane, do we have any negative marking? No. Well, no. Suda, if I miss a full stop, will it deduct a mark? No. Punctuation is not counted, but I recommend doing it anyway. Kesha, I can only remember 2 phrases, sad face. Really, this is a test, Kesha, of your English language skills, vocabulary, grammar, collocations, phrases. Please check out Test Ready on e2school.com. It's a course that we've built to build up your vocabulary skills for PTE. So go to e2school.com, sign up to Test Ready. I think it's $9, very cheap. Christopher, how do you improve your working memory? I'm finding it difficult remembering word for word. Yeah, I think this, Christopher, is a great question. Working memory, okay, it's a problem of attention. It's a problem of attention. So attention is your capacity to apply your awareness to something, okay? And how long can you focus your awareness on something? I think practicing actually helps. I think what the problem of awareness is, or the enemy of awareness, is distraction. If you're distracted by thoughts, or you're distracted by, you're not focused, you're not paying attention, that's going to be problematic. That'll make it harder for you to listen. So this is really This task really is a test of your ability to pay attention and to focus and to be aware, okay, not be distracted by thoughts or hunger pains or whatever it is. So in order to improve, you have to really work out how your mind works and what is distracting you. Santosh, if I type as government instead of governmental, will I get partial marks? No, it'll be considered wrong. For example, if you write the word computer versus computerized, it would be wrong. It needs to be the right form of the word. If I write a singular noun versus a plural noun, will it be wrong? Yes. If the speaker said students and you wrote student, singular, it would be considered incorrect. So be careful, singular and plural. Richard, is this live? Yes. Hello, Richard. Cool. All right, I'm going to push on because there's like about 30 questions about this one and there's not enough time. We save your questions to the end. Let's move on. Let's look at reading and writing fill in the blanks. This is a reading task that contributes points to your writing score. So you'll get 5 or 6 on test day. As I just mentioned, it's integrated scoring, reading and writing. You should be spending about 3 minutes max on these questions on test day. Now, what is it testing you on? This is the one where you get the paragraph or the couple of paragraphs of text and there'll be drop-down lists and you need to select the word, the correct word. So it's going to test you on 4 things. By and large, it will test you on your understanding of meaning or word choice, okay? The meaning of particular words. For example, here's your paragraph of text, blah, 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 blah. You click on the drop-down list. There are 4 options. There's synonym, 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 synonym. So there are 4 words that have similar meanings, but only one of them is precise. Okay, for example, you click on that drop-down list. It says smart, scholarly, clever, and intellectual. Now, based on the context, only one will be precise in that context. So that's testing your meaning, your ability to, your understanding of semantics, of meaning of words. The second type of question you'll get is you click on that drop-down list and you'll get 4 words, 3 of which will be ungrammatical in the context and 1 will be grammatical. For example, scholar, scholarly, school, or scholastic. Okay, so these are all the same root word. However, one is an adjective or a noun. One is an adjective or an adverb. One is a noun. And one is an adjective. So, okay, we'll do a little practice in a second. Third one is, it will test you on your understanding of collocation or phrases. Again, this is why Test Ready on e2school.com is such a critical course because it builds your collocation understanding and application. So what I mean by phrase is, see the word take there? Take? Take duty, take responsibility, take authority, or take task. So take responsibility is the natural sounding phrase. So it might test you on that. The 4th way that it's going to test you is by choosing the correct word from the context, from the overall context, from meaning that came before or meaning that comes after it. Okay. So for example, in the middle here, we have blah, 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 blah in red. That would give you the answer to this first drop down there. Okay, so sometimes you have to read the whole thing. Sometimes the answer will actually be, you'll know the answer from before or after in the text. So let's look at a method here and we'll go through each of these again and do a little bit of practice. So let's look at meaning first. First of all, let's just focus on synonyms for a second because synonyms in English are really, when you look at English language tests, I reckon 70% of English language tests are about your ability to use synonyms or paraphrases. Okay, how to say one thing, how to say the same meaning but in a different way. That's how they test you on multiple choice and this task and lots of other tasks. So if you have an adjective like messy, he's a messy person, right? No, let's not use a person. Let's say a room, messy bedroom. But then you have dirty, filthy, grubby, soiled, grimy, begrimed, mucky, muddy, slimy, sticky, sullied, spotted, stained, smeared, smudged, tarnished, disheveled, blousy, scruffy, rumpled, matted, unkempt, whatever. I don't even know some of these ones. I don't know what tousled means, for example. Some of them are very common, some of them are not. Now, you would use messy in certain contexts, and you would use filthy in other contexts, or stained. These are all similar meanings, but slightly different uses for different things. Cool. So have a look at this one here. An extremely, which one is the correct one? I won't even bother testing you here, but let's look. An extremely messy personal space. So this is the noun phrase, personal space. How do we describe a personal space? Messy, soiled, tarnished, or smeared, which is correct? Feel free to pop it into the chat if you want. I think you know the answer. Cool, I agree. So it's messy. So the other adjectives there were incorrect. They were wrong. You can't use them. They sound weird. They're not quite right. This one is right. It's precise. Okay, so second one is grammar. So psychologists explored the degree of something in one's workspace and how it affects perceptions of the owner's personality. So which is the correct word form or grammatical form here? Nice, well done. You got it. Messiness, the degree of messiness. So we wanted that noun form. We wanted the ness noun form. You can't have the degree of messy or the degree of messily or the degree of messed upness. You need messiness. Cool. Also on e2school.com, if you need help with grammar, it's free. There's a grammar course called Grammar Review. It's 100% free. Maybe you just want to brush up on your verb tenses or prepositions or something like that. Collocations. So in 3 experiments, about 160 participants were randomly something to sit in a researcher's office that was clean and uncluttered. Which is the correct way to finish this sort of little phrase here with randomly? Randomly assigned, randomly appointed, randomly elected, or randomly designated? One of them is precise. Good, some of you are getting it. Good. We're talking about a science experiment here. So if we're talking about a science experiment, we need to say randomly assigned. That's the common phrase that you would use when talking about a science experiment. I was randomly assigned to group B. Not randomly appointed, elected, or designated. They are imprecise, okay? This is the level 4 test ready course that I was talking about before on e2school.com. Builds your vocab, reading skills, listening skills. It builds your vocab by theme. So you look at different themes like health or technology, the sort of themes that you'll get for your essay or your reading passages. Again, I think it's $9 to sign up to this course. I think it's a 2-month course. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Context is the other one. This one's where it gets a bit hard because you need to read the whole thing. So let me disappear. I'm going to give you 45 seconds to choose the correct phrase here according to the overall context. So you need to read the whole thing. Okay. The answer here is neat. Why? Because it's contrasting this paragraph here. This paragraph is talking about the messy office. This one's talking about the neat office. Papers were stacked on the desk. Books and journals were upright on the bookshelves. File drawers had typewritten labels, and all the garbage was in the waste basket. So neat here is the best word to describe what's going on in this paragraph, and also contrast with this paragraph here. So that's an example of a reading and writing fill in the blanks, reading for context. So we just looked at 4 of them. First one, main one is meaning, just meaning of 4 synonyms. One of them is precise. Next one is grammar, so 4 options. Only 1 is grammatical. Third one was collocations or phrases. So one made the correct natural sounding phrase. And the 4th one is overall context, choosing from the overall context here. Oh, there you go. There's the 4. Cool. Any questions about reading and writing fill in the blanks? Hopefully now when you practice that, you'll have a better sort of understanding of what it is testing you on, which is critical. Any questions about reading and writing fill in the blanks? Just going back. So Prajakta says, what if I don't know the meaning of 2 or 3 options? Then you're guessing, and just try your best. Try to get as close as you can to the correct one. If you can narrow it down to 2 options, you've got a 50-50 chance. So guess. There's no negative marking, so feel free to guess. Mithorn, should I read the entire paragraph or keep filling as I go? I think you should speed read the entire paragraph. You need to get an overall understanding of what it's about, especially if you have a question based on context. Santosh, how do I manage my time in reading and writing? Fill in the blanks. So speed read the whole thing, then go to the first option, and again, click it. It's going to test you on synonyms. It's going to test you on grammar. It's going to test you on collocations, or it's going to test you on context. Answer it, move to the next one. Dum, 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 dum. Vishnu, bit out of context. During the exam, does the system display the remaining questions for each section? Yes. So in the reading section, you have to manage your own time. So it gives you your overall time. I can't remember precisely how many minutes. I think it's like 38 minutes or something, right? So you'll see 38 minutes ticking down, 38:59, 38:58, etc., ticking down. And you'll see the number of questions total. So there might be whatever. I think it's longer than 38 minutes, whatever. So you can see the number of questions you're going through, and you'll see the time ticking down. So you have to sort of do a little bit of maths. For example, you might get to a section where you have 10 questions left and you have 20 minutes, right? So you have therefore 2 minutes per question. So you have to do a little bit of maths to work out how quickly you should be going. Jai, how to improve reading quickly without losing the meaning, without losing the meaning? Yeah, some people have you'll have a certain speed threshold. Everyone does. If I read too quickly, that's it. I lose it. I don't know how many kilometers per hour I can read at. Some people will be faster, some people will be slower. You just need to find your limit, your speed limit there, and just read at that speed. So therefore you're reading quickly, but you're also retaining meaning. Viranji, how do I improve my grammar? Please use the grammar review course on e2school.com. It's free. It's boring. It's not boring. It's a little bit boring. You have to do it though. You have to get in there and understand the rules, okay? There are a finite number of rules, okay? At the start, and especially if you have bad teachers, grammar seems completely overwhelming and impossible and like just incomprehensible. Then when you start to be taught it properly, you start to understand it. Will it help me in my PTE? Yes, it'll help in everything from listening to reading to writing. It is the fundamental ingredient of language. You've really got 3 fundamental ingredients to language. You've got vocabulary, pronunciation, vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation. Vocab, grammar, pronunciation. They are the 3 fundamental building blocks of language. If you lack one of them, you're going to struggle. All right, let's push on. Listening, summarize, spoken, text. Okay. So you'll get 2 or 3 of these on test day. You have to write between 50 and 70 words. It's like a little summary that you write. You'll get 10 minutes on each task, and you should use all of the 10 minutes for each task. The time you save does not carry over. The scores contribute points to listening and writing. This is what summarized spoken text looks like on test day. Let's just read the instructions here at the top because it'll give you a good idea of what you have to do. It says, you'll hear a short lecture. Write a summary for a fellow student who was not present at the lecture. You should write 50 to 70 words. You have 10 minutes to finish this task. Your response will be judged on the quality of your writing and how well your response presents the key points presented in the lecture. Okay, so you're imagining that you're in some sort of lecture. Your friend calls you on the phone and says, hey, I'm going to be late. Can you please write me a little summary of what the lecture's about? You listen for 10 minutes, you write a little summary, in comes your friend, you give your friend the summary. That's sort of what you're doing ultimately. You're scored on content. That is, you're writing on topic and you're using key words and key concepts. You write between, 50 and 70 words. You don't write 49, you don't write 71. You write between 50 and 70. You use accurate grammar and varied grammar, use precise vocabulary, and you spell things correctly. Okay, that's how you're scored. We can break this one down into 3 parts. Okay, so there's not much you can do before the lecture begins. So, sorry, 2 parts. There's really nothing you can do before the lecture begins. There's no hint of what it's going to look like, for example. For example, you don't see any picture or anything. You just see this. You don't know what you're going to get. In this one, you need your pen and paper because you're going to take notes. So while listening, take notes. Listen carefully. Write down key words, key ideas, as many as you can from the lecture. Okay? Then when the lecture finishes, you'll then turn your notes and your ideas, your written down ideas, along with your memory, because you'll have a good memory of what was said, you'll turn that into a summary. So you're turning your notes into a summary here, and you should be using some sort of structure. Here's a structure that we recommend that's been used by lots and lots and thousands of people successfully. It's a good core structure. You can build around it, you can flesh it out, you can expand it, you can change it if you want, doesn't matter, but this is a good core structure. The speaker was discussing topic. What was it about? Was it about thermodynamics? Was it about computer science? Was it about cloud formation? Whatever. He mentioned key idea 1. He talked about key idea 2. He discussed key idea 3. He suggested that key idea 4, or he concluded that key idea 4, whatever. That needs to go for 50 to 70 words. You can use different verbs: described, highlighted, thought, seemed, contrasted, compared, believed. It's up to you. This final part, you can say he suggested that, or he concluded by. This is your little conclusion sentence, your concluding sentence, rather. So overall, you might write something like this. The speaker was discussing an economic bubble in the 17th century called tulip mania. Now, hold on. I don't want to give you that one. So right now in 2018, it's all about Bitcoin, right? I'm not going to read that. You've probably already been hoodwinked. But in the past, okay, sorry. I'm not going to read that summary because it's actually the summary of the practice one we're about to do. Let me go back and just quickly stop here. If you haven't taken the PTE mock test yet, it's a very good idea because it's going to give you comprehensive feedback, not just a score, but it'll give you feedback on your reading, writing, listening, speaking. Our teachers will be marking your speaking and writing and giving you personalized feedback. It's really good because it will help you to identify weaknesses or which particular tasks you need to focus on or which particular part of the essay or whatever it is. Is it your content in read aloud? It's going to help you to identify those key things. All right, let's do a summarized spoken text. let's do part one. You need a pen and paper. You're going to listen carefully and you're going to take notes. I'm going to disappear. Your time starts. The lecture, rather, starts now. So right now in 2018, it's all about Bitcoin, right? You've probably already been hoodwinked. But in the past, we've had .com stocks, the 1929 crash, the 19th century railways, and the South Sea bubble of 1720. All these were compared by contemporaries to tulip mania. Have you heard of this? It's the Dutch financial craze for tulip bulbs in the 1630s. Bitcoin, according to some skeptics, is tulip mania 2.0. Like all bubbles, tulip mania was irrational, the story goes. Tulip mania was a frenzy. Everyone in the Netherlands was involved, from chimney sweeps to aristocrats. The same tulip bulb, or rather tulip future, was traded sometimes 10 times a day. No one wanted the bulbs, only the profits. It was a bit of a phenomenon of pure greed. Tulips were sold for crazy prices, in some cases the price of houses, and fortunes were won and lost. Pretty crazy stuff. It was the foolishness of newcomers to the market that set off the crash in February 1637. Desperate bankrupts threw themselves in canals. The government finally stepped in and ceased the trade, but not before the economy of Holland was ruined. So it makes an exciting story. The trouble is, most of it is untrue. Okay. Now, you're going to use your memory, your understanding of that part of the lecture, and your notes to write a summary. How long have you got? I'll just give you 5 minutes. See if you can whip something up in try to write 50 words. All right, a couple of minutes left. Okay, good. Okay. Good, Richard. Just make sure, Richard, you get your verb tenses correct. Mentioned, talked, described. So you've put talks in there. So we want past tense verbs. Nice, projectors. Use the verb compared. Added. Good. You can change the verbs. That's fine. Well done. Sudha, you're mistaking this one with retail lecture. It's a very similar one. That's a speaking task. This is the writing form of that task, if you like. Cool. I'll stop you there. Good to do some practice like that. Well done. Let me just stop my timer. A few questions popped into the chat, which were good questions. One of them said, how many keywords should I be writing down? The answer is as many as you can. If you can, what you really need to do in the listening section is you need to be able to listen as carefully as possible while writing down as many words as possible and not being distracted by your handwriting. Really, you're paying attention to listening and you're scribbling down keywords because ultimately you're listening and understanding the lecture. You want to understand what's being said, not concentrating on writing down the words. You're concentrating on what's being said and scribbling down the words. Because fundamentally, you're using your memory, your comprehension, your understanding of the lecture. The key words are just there to help your memory, to say, oh yeah, he talked about tulip prices being exorbitant or whatever it is. Okay, so fundamentally, this is a listening exercise. But good question. Write down as many keywords as you can. Some of you have written, certainly used keywords, certainly misunderstood the lecture. That's okay. Do what you can. That's as good as it can get sometimes. Sometimes the lectures on test day are very, very complicated, very abstract scientific ones. Like I had one when I took my PTE, it was on like kinetic energy or something, some sort of physics topic. I don't have a physics background. So for me, I was doing my best to understand what was going on, but I was really relying on my keywords when I wrote my summary, and it worked. So that's good. I don't have I won't be able to comment on everybody's paragraph there, but you can always get feedback if you want. Submit feedback through the system as an assessment or through the mock test, and you'll get feedback. Here's a good high-scoring example. The speaker was discussing an economic bubble in the 17th century called tulip mania that happened in Holland. Right? That's really what this lecture was about. It mentioned Bitcoin, but this is what it was about. That was the topic. He compared tulip mania to today's Bitcoin bubble and suggested the two events are similar. He described how people in Holland became obsessed with buying and selling tulip bulbs, some of which were incredibly expensive. Finally, he concluded that, in fact, the story of tulip mania was largely untrue. That's a good high-scoring example. It's retold the lecture. It's summarized that lecture. 67 words, spot on. Actually, let's just have a look at the verb tenses here because people were making mistakes with the verb tenses. So first verb tense you use is was discussing. Just always use this one. It's a past continuous, was discussing. Then we've got compared. He compared. He suggested. He described. Past tense, ed. Became is actually the past tense here. And then concluded or suggested, doesn't matter, concluded or suggested. You can use either of those. Cool. How do I get that thing off the screen now? No, funny thing, go away. Clear all drawings. Okay, got it. Yeah, so you can get feedback if you want. I think you can buy feedback bundles for writing and speaking. So you'll complete an exercise on the computer, submit it through. One of our teachers expert teachers is going to mark it for you, give you corrective feedback, mark you according to how the computer marks you, send it back to you so you know what you're doing right and wrong. Very good way to improve. Or you can take one-on-one tutorials with teachers. This is 45 minutes one-on-one, you and the teacher focusing in on up to 3 different tasks. You might do this one, retail lecture, whatever. These are fantastic. Okay, so now we're getting to the actual writing tasks. So all of the other tasks so far have contributed points to your writing score. These ones are actually the writing tasks themselves. So this one's called Summarize Written Text. You'll get 1 or 2 on test day. It'll contribute points to your writing score and your reading score because you're going to have to read a large chunk of text, then write about that text. You're scored on, when you write your sentence, you're scored on content, length, grammar, and vocabulary. Content means that from the paragraph that you read, you've chosen relevant parts. You've focused on the right part. Length, length is easy. You either get no points or you get 1. All you need to do is write more than 5 words, fewer than 75 words. We recommend about 30 to 40 words. Grammar has to be accurate. Vocab has to be precise. Nothing mentioned about spelling, but spell it correctly anyway. Okay, so this is what the task looks like on test day. This is a much shorter version. Here's the text. Usually it'll be much longer than this. It'll be, I think it's up to 300 words. This is about 100 words. So 3 times longer than this. And here you'll write one sentence, a single sentence summary of this writing, which is a very tricky thing to do because you have to exclude a lot of details and you have to really just find the heart of the text. So how do you approach this then? Because you get 10 minutes and you should use all of the 10 minutes on these tasks, really you need to read carefully and you should be spending about 3 or 4 minutes reading that text, understanding it. Then you're going to write for about 5 or 6 minutes. Remember, you're just writing one sentence of, say, 35 words. So you're not writing lots, but you're really making sure that sentence captures the idea, it's grammatically accurate. Then you're going to make sure that it's, before you submit it, you've got to check it, make sure it's okay. So 10 minutes total time. So here's there's sort of 2 main strategies for this. Okay, so imagine you're looking at the screen and there's just one passage of text. There's just one big paragraph. Okay, what you need to do there is find the main idea of it. What's the main idea of that passage of text? And what are 1, 2, or 3 important sub-ideas? Then you'll construct a sentence that'll have the main idea and a few sub-ideas attached to it. Or maybe a sub-idea followed by the main idea. I'll show you in a second about different ways to write the sentences. Or imagine you're looking at the screen and there are 3 shorter paragraphs there. What you'll do is find the main idea of each paragraph. So you'll have 3 parts and then you'll stitch that together into one sentence. Then when you're writing, so that's the reading tips. Then when you're actually writing your sentence, you're going to have to play with the sentence a bit. You'll write it out first and you won't be happy with it. And you'll move that bit to the start, you'll add something, you'll move that bit to the end. You need to make it a complex sentence. Sorry, let me go back. You'll need to play around with the sentence, okay? Usually the first time you write it won't be right. You won't be happy with it. It's not working properly. What's wrong with it? You'll try again, you'll rearrange it, rearrange. Okay, I'm happy with it now. The sentence itself has to be a complex sentence. That is, it needs to contain a word like which, that, or who, or whose, or it needs to start with what's called a subordinating conjunction, a word like although or despite, start with one of those sentences. Some teachers I recommend avoiding words like however and therefore. And the reason is this. when you write a sentence and then you write however, so yeah, however, in fact, that's two sentences. And usually you would put a full stop and then however next sentence. So I would avoid using these conjunctions in the middle of the sentence. Words like although, despite, at the start of the sentence are fine. Although, whatever, blah, 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 comma, blah, 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 that's a single sentence. And aim for 30 to 40 words. Okay, so what am I doing? Then you're going to play around with it, rearrange. Final tips are, when you're looking at the text, you are allowed to use single words or maybe even short phrases from the text. So let's say there's a keyword. Let's say you're writing a sentence, the passage is about the brain, the human brain. And so you need to use words like neurons and synapse or whatever the passage says, because there's no synonyms for that. There's no synonym for neuron. It's a keyword that you need to use. So using single words, or even let's say there's a phrase in there that's like neuronal pathway or neural cortex, something, I don't know. You're allowed to use that phrase as well, okay? However, you should be using synonyms and paraphrases where possible. That is, you're not taking a large chunk of the text. You'll be taking keywords, key ideas. You can rewrite it in your own words or just write it from scratch yourself. And as I mentioned, don't push two sentences together. It needs to be a single sentence, technically. What are we doing? Are we writing here? Wait. We're going to do the whole thing in 3 minutes, okay? I want you to read this, summarize it into a single sentence. It doesn't need to be 30 or 40 words. You can make it like, whatever, 15 to, whoops. Try to aim for 30 words. You have 3 minutes to read this, understand it, write a single sentence summary. Let's do it. Right. How do you, sorry, it's not much time, I know. Do you need more time? Anyway, okay, they're starting to come through. Nice work, everyone. Okay, let me just read a few. Holding a pen in between teeth and forcing the facial muscles generates positive emotions in both the person doing it and the person observing it, as per research. Bang on. Nice sentence there, Suda. That is really good. I mean, you've got it. I think you've got it. Fact on that, I'm going to read you mine because I think my one was pretty much the same. Holding a pen in between your teeth to induce a fake smile can make both you and the person watching you happier. So let's go back. So there's lots of detail here. There's lots of stuff about the study being published in Psychological Advancements Journal. Whatever. There's stuff that you need to avoid. You need to avoid. You need to find out what's the key thing here. Like if your friend said to you, your friend walked over, like imagine I'm sitting here reading this. My friend walks over and goes, "What's that about?" And you say, "Well, apparently if you hold a pen in between your teeth, it forces you to smile and it makes you happy and makes other people happy." Okay, that's really what you're trying to do here. You're not getting distracted by what's being said there. You're finding the meaning, writing it yourself into a nice sentence like that. Boom. Cool. I noticed that this doesn't have it doesn't have which or that in it, but anyway, it was a shorter one. Cool. Okay, let's skip that. Let's answer any questions about summarized written text there. Okay, somebody's confused that was the essay. That's not the essay. That was writing a single sentence. Okay. Okay, Devraj, if I use the whole 10 minutes to write and I am not pressing the submit option, my answer will save automatically. Yes. So if you fail to press next, it will automatically take you to the next slide and save and submit. Yeah, so that's no problem. Don't need to stress about that. But I suggest you click next. I did when I took the PTE. It just gives you a bit more control. Any other questions about summarized written text? Can I type a study published in Psychological Advancements? Is it relevant? You know, is that really part of the central idea? I don't think so. So remember, you've got to ignore a lot of detail. Santosh, I got 77 twice in writing. What might be the reason that I'm not getting 79? Where am I lacking? Well, we looked at a bunch of different tasks today that contribute points to your writing score. Could be one of them. Could be your enabling skills, grammar, vocab, written discourse from the essay. Is it spelling? Could be, you're so close, but it could be a number of different things. Santosh, have you taken the mock test or gotten writing feedback yet? Because you might need one of our experts to pinpoint what it is that's going wrong. Sir, can you tell a little about the score in PTE? I don't know what you mean. I think the overall score, it's scored out of 90. You get 4 scores for macro skills: listening, reading, writing, speaking, out of 90. Then you have enabling skills. These enabling skills contribute to your overall scores, like grammar, pronunciation, written discourse, spelling, vocabulary, etc. Oh, Viranji, that's interesting. You got 90 in our ones. It's like, I'm not sure, Viranji. It's too hard for me to say from here. Richard, can I retake the mini mock test? No, you only take it once. We do have some more on the way. Etash Mudin, and I've missed the first part of your sentence. Is it a good idea to read the last paragraph to understand the overall conclusion, then to decide what the context is about? You need to read the whole thing in summarized written text in order to write that summary sentence, because you might take some information from right at the beginning, some from the middle, and maybe you don't take any from the end. Who knows? It depends on test day. It depends on the passage. Yeah, Viranji, I think just keep chipping away, keep attending the live classes. You'll build something up there. You'll build something up. All right, let's take a look at writing right essay. I'm in fact just going to point you to this video here in the website, because we've just crossed an hour. This video is the key video for your essay score, and the essay is critical for your writing score. Really is important. This essay will take you through how to concentrate on the question prompt, how to write on topic. Most importantly, it's going to teach you structure. You need to understand or have with you a structure for the essay. And there is a structure. There's a structure for the introduction. There's a structure for your paragraphs. There's a structure for the conclusion, okay? When you understand that overall structure and those substructures, then you can go into the exam much more confidently, because whatever question prompt you get, you will be able to quickly start to structure up write a nice essay based on that structure. We're not asking you to memorize a template. That won't work, because you'll never be able to be flexible enough to write on topic, and the computer sometimes picks up templates and gives you 0. This is a broad structure. You can write to any topic, be very flexible, and it works. Of course, you still have the issue of grammar and vocabulary that you need to deal with, making sure you're writing on topic, but this will help you significantly. That's the end of that. Any overall questions there about the writing section? Whoa. Mexon, do you personally recommend AP Uni for practices? I haven't seen the content. You have to be very careful with the content of some of these websites, because it's not good content. I don't know. Santosh, personal opinion. Colin's class is not giving me much information, getting practice, but not getting the method, like how to solve or approach each task. Cool. No worries. Thank you, Santosh. Tane, what about fill in the blanks, listening, writing? Oh, sorry. Listening, fill in the blanks is very straightforward. The reason I didn't do it today is because it's you listen, you fill in the gap as you go. You just concentrate on making sure it's the right word, has the right grammar, etc. No, yeah, very few people have problems with that one. Diresh, what are the techniques to do fast note-taking? You need to practice. So listen to some lectures on YouTube or on the E2 language website in our listening tasks, for example. Listen and take notes. Again, you need to understand first and foremost what you're listening to, and the notes will serve to help your memory. Projector, is it okay to copy a few words or lines as it is from the lecture? Yes, copying a few words or a few phrases is fine. As we talked about, neuron, neural pathway, these are fine to take from the lecture. Mithun, I read an article about the PT and one of them claiming that using backspace can reduce your points. Please tell me that isn't true. That's not true. That's a stupid YouTube video that this person put out, which has caused so many problems to test takers who believe it. It's not true. Again, you need to be careful who you prepare with, because yeah. Sudha, does the essay have a fixed time of 20 minutes? Yes, you have 20 minutes to write your essay. Devraj, written discourse, I got 36 and my writing overall score is 61. So written discourse is structure. Written discourse refers to the structure of your essay. Jai, how does spelling deduct from scores? Spelling does not seem to have much of a bearing on your overall score. It seems to be weighted lowly. I say that because I got a low spelling score in my PTE. I got 90 for everything. Spelling, I got like 60 something. I don't know why. I just misspelled some words, but I still got 90 in everything. We see that quite commonly, people getting top scores and yet getting a low spelling score. Kapil, Jay, any idea what the percentage of points essay contribute to writing? So my business partner's just walked in. I don't, but all I know that is it is critical for your writing score, and I would concentrate on that first and foremost. Tanae, tab doesn't work in the exam to move to the next. Doesn't it? Are you sure? Okay. Yeah, I always thought it did. That's interesting. Jai, I've heard that the more than one spelling errors in an essay will give you 0. I don't think so. Devraj, written disc. Okay, I've answered that one. Viranji, can you suggest how I can improve my writing skills? I really recommend Test Ready on e2school.com. It'll build your vocab, again, your natural sounding phrases, stuff like that. But if you're at a higher level, then feedback is critical for you, okay? Jay, with the E2 language feedback that you provide, do I need to, do I just write an essay and then send it through, or do you provide me with an essay prompt? We provide you with the essay prompt. So it unlocks, it's all done through the computer. You just upgrade, then it will unlock some essays, you submit them through, type them up, press send. Our teachers will then send them back to you within 24 to 48 hours with comprehensive feedback. Devraj, if you're following the E2 structure and still getting a low score for written discourse, then I suggest getting some writing feedback or a tutorial, because there's lots of things that can go wrong. Santosh, is the E2 language studio up and running? Not yet. I mean, it was, and then COVID came, and then we had to stop filming. Mython, is the PTE practice official mock test a good idea? Yeah, I think that's probably the final step. That's a final step. That's a good idea. Cool. I won't comment on people's specific scores. There are things to be discussed with a teacher, I feel, especially because we might need to look at your writing or see what's going on. I'm exhausted. I need a cup of tea. Thank you for coming along. I hope that was helpful. Yep, keep preparing. I will see you soon. Thank you.